willkommen zum Auf die Fresse, the wXw review podcast in English. I'm Hamburg in Hamilton, joined by, as seen on TV, Mike Kilby. And Mike, how are you recovering from Oberhausen?
I'm still not recovering. I'm still sick. Whatever this W flu I've got this time is still there, so that's wonderful. I'm drugged up and loving life.
I don't know if that's mutual thing, but yeah, I think Coward this year came back and was worryingly fine. This time, I was fine when literally the morning after getting home, I felt like being run over by a steam train.
I tend to avoid a lot of it for some reason, but this year it's just really bad. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
there's a few suspects, and unfortunately, I think I've given other people it. So that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the first one after COVID, ended up coming back, and I think last year, first one after COVID, everyone came back, and you could tell people had landed because the Twitter timeline was just for 2-line COVID test, for 2-line COVID test, for 2-line COVID test, and it's like, oh shit. So yeah, that's I've not seen too many of those. I mean, I've done a test and it's come up negative, which is good, but yeah, it's one of those where especially now you're hearing increased cases, new variant. It always has you nervous, but we're not here to talk about COVID. We're here to talk about, of course, World Tag Team Festival. Wrapped up just over a week ago. I think always we're landing back in the country then. And yeah, I mean, we're not going to go through every match, match by match. No, every wXw card, wXw branded event is up on wXw now. Everything apart from Inner Circle was live streamed on Triller in English, which, checking in over the weekend was absolutely amazing. Not just, I think it was a carrot rated just in German and then English on demand. The fact that you had 2 live streams at the same time in different languages and enjoyed it without any hitches. This was damn near major league stuff.
Yeah, it's obviously a testament to obviously the scaling that they have been able to do with the production. I feel like there was, as far as I'm aware, there wasn't any issues. Once again, it was very useful to, especially on the Saturday night. Sorry, not the Saturday night, the Friday night show. It was useful to be able to look at what the spots that you couldn't see.
Yes.
On YouTube, because sometimes all you need is just quick action replay to go, oh, that's what just happened. So yeah, that was very useful. And yeah, it works, which it's. I think I can't think of many times when there was one of the events. Wasn't there one of the events a couple of years ago where there was a little bit of a teething thing? Because for a while they was doing live. No, they was doing an hour behind, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. I want to say so. Shortcut last year was live on Anniversary a few years back was live on that Build Plus, which
that was the first live one. Yeah,
and then I want to say it was a Shortcut that had on some weird delay, and I want to say God, we were way this year when we did. It was one of the post Carrot shows. They ended up doing it in halves because there's issues with suspected issues with the venues in there. But the fact that we've gone from, I swear when we first started doing these podcasts back before we even had the name, it was like, oh, it's amazing, we're getting these shows out 3 days later. Back when it was Katya and Sia doing the whole editing as we're going along. We've got these shows 3 days out, we'd land in a circle, be popping up, and the next day be count. It's now it's if you're in the venue and you Extreme Wrestling Party, you miss a spot, dig your phone out, we'll scrub back a bit, and there you go, you can see, it's Nick Shry got was nearly waterboarded by a beer. That's what it was. Which again, that's just a sign of technology and progress, which we're getting to that point where you can see in the venue stuff you've missed and not having to rely or moan about, hey, Mark, get another video screen up, want instant replay, because that'll send the stress levels flying on that production balcony, no doubt. But I say the fact that pretty much everything, apart from Inner Circle, for the obvious reasons, was not live. Yeah, this has got the most impressive block they've done. And I would suspect as well that this this absolutely has to be the norm. You can't exactly, go back for Couch unless there was illness or what have you and go, yeah, Couch, we're doing German only. You guys, you lazy buggers, get over here. You watching it live or not at all. Yeah, I mean, over
I'm
weekends.
very much of the opinion they should make it harder to watch wXw, so you have to physically go.
I mean, I wouldn't be against. I mean, not to take. I mean, this isn't taking digs, but I mean, like the travelling crew for this particular one. So it's definitely the lightest it's been since.
Yeah, we could have all gone in a single van. Like we
Yeah,
could have gone in as a Zafira. That was the sort
yeah.
of.
Although Bagsy not driving, I'm not good at long
Yeah.
distance stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I suppose one of those smaller crowds, released from outside, meant that we weren't having to play so much. Oh crap, where's he gone? Where's he gone? That we've done in years gone by. But yeah, as for the shows, I guess the big headlines, they hit reset again. Every title changed hands, some more than once. I guess for you, my key takeaways from the weekend. Anything really stood out for you dive into each night?
I thought that there was a lot of they didn't really they seem to have settled into a bit of a pattern, which I don't necessarily think is a bad pattern. Of the sense of do you remember like there was a run of weekenders before the pandemic where it would always end on a real bummer and you're going home just bummed out. It
Yes,
happened about three in a row.
one where JFK won the tag titles. I was like, oh, can't be rice pudding all the time. It's like, yeah, but it'd be nice
Yeah,
to have some rice pudding.
yeah, anything to actually have any joy. It kept on happening like that, and it seems to be now that they're loading the misery on over night 1 and 2, and then night 3 is always the one that seems to be the happy event. So that's sort of a good change. Yeah, I think there's obviously we'll go into the results and the title changes soon, but there's further proof of a strong investment in their next generation. I think they're very much branding it as the new generation of wXw. There's a lot of investment in that, which is great. Some of them I do question the longevity of a handful of them, but we can get into that very shortly.
Yeah, so I guess if we want, before we go into the show by show, the big talking point this year, and I'm not saying this because of that intro I'm having in my nightmares. High Performer Limited.
Yes.
They were across every single goddamn show to a point where I'm hearing that that intro's like even when commentary's saying it and you don't think they're saying there's a bit, maybe do another version where you can trim that up because that's 30 seconds of my life. That builds up over a weekend, but I guess they're pretty much challenging on all fronts. Obviously, Icarus and Joseph Fennick Jr. in Tag Festival. You had, I guess, Pete Tahani, the Saturday main event, but I think the main one, this stood out for me because of the aftermath, was the quote-unquote match with Maggot and Robert Christopher Forwerk. So, again, we won't go into detail on this because I don't want to go into detail again on night 2, was the whole thing of that the big training vignette, him and Daniel Mark, doing it's almost like Rocky stuff, but
Yeah.
really well done. Point was like, oh crap, he's taking this seriously. And then show day, he's in the High Perform Limited port cabin, I guess. Look it up, Robin, if you haven't heard of that. And then you see, high performing free, and then nobody does it with him, but he's oblivious to it. And then he goes to match and see Baby Alson lock the port cabin, so all of his guys in the room. Oh no, what am I going to do? Then on the match, Maggot's out, chase him around, Baby Alson comes out, then the rest of High Performance Limited come out. It's like, it just feels like there's a lot of elements in there which on their own was fine, but just all of them together, you over-egged the pudding. The fact the match was not really a match. Allison punted Maggot in the balls. It got called a no contest. Fine. It wasn't a match, but the fact that afterwards, and this didn't come across on the live VOD, so they cut to the commercials really timely, I guess. I've never heard a WXW crowd chanting bullshit that long and that loud after an angle.
Yeah, it was very yeah, it was rejected quite. There's the whole feel. I feel like it was just like that felt like it was insulting our intelligence a little bit. Just the whole thing, really. Yeah, was not received well at all. It was just it was just so transparent. As soon as Alison's out there, you're just like, well, here we go then. It's just it's such a I don't know. For me, it was just didn't really land for me at all. Maggot is I don't know whether there was no gimmick attached to this match with it. It was just the fact that the match happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, because in
It
Hamburg you
wasn't
had,
a
Bielefeld, El Hirdry, John Cena, Mysterio Jr. Maggot was unwell. Allison took the match from, which again, it feels like a needless beat if you were going to do this. Like, if you're
well.
going
It's
to
the
have him.
idea that like Maggot was unwell. Like, is that going to be a thing that like Allison made him unwell?
Yeah,
Is
or
it
even the
is it a
fact
food
that,
poisoning or something?
or even the fact that the Bielefeld match, the stipulation was if he loses, he's gone from WXW. So you saved him from being expelled from WXW
Yeah,
to turn on him to like. I'm overthinking this, yeah, but it's like all
it
of those
doesn't pass the
bits,
sniff test, to be
yeah.
honest. Yeah,
And I really hate using this as a shorthand because there's a bit for next night which I really liked and could also fall in this bucket. It felt very much like WWE's worst in terms of it's a storyline for the sake of we got a reaction. We I don't I don't even want to say like Vince Russo level stuff, but it's like, that kind of thing where you just threw in so many elements which individually fine, but the second you put any thought behind it, it's like so you had Baby Allison save Maggot from losing a match by forfeit, which cost his career, but now you keep him around just to make his life hell? Like,
yeah.
which one? No, one of which would be more productive than the other, but again, I'm overthinking stuff and we can go on that later, but elsewhere, High Performer Limited have been, at least from English commentary, by German Nischel Gutzo, but they were throwing a lot of references that High Performer Limited were a group of mercenaries with a lot of run-ins of the past. Now that's not something they've done before in terms of, oh hey, well, I know the English commentary made a point of saying, Joseph Fennick Jr., who was first unmasked by Icarus,
Yeah.
and that never came before. And granted, it's a fairly new edition, but it's like it just feels like they're making a point of, they haven't gotten on the past. If they're getting on now, it's strained. And day three, they all got for golf clubs. But don't think I've ever seen one at a driving range, let alone a crazy golf course. But Anil Marek made a point of getting rid of his pretty early on in their match. So they're doing the thing now where almost like Tristan Archer, I'm not saying his name beyond this, when he was him and Fennick were the so-called disruptors
Yeah.
back again. Now it's Anil Marek who looks to be the one who's the downtrodden, beaten one who's going to be primed to switch. But see where that goes. Like I say, rather than just do with bits, we do show by show and can firework off into tangents there. Of course, started off Inner Circle, sold out 110 people. I thought this probably one of the stronger Inner Circles, at least in terms of the ceilings. There's a few matches that maybe didn't well, one particular which seems to be the usual thing, but opened to Lawrence Roman, beating Axel Tischer, open challenge. Again, in terms of the Inner Circle Factory getting the champion there, and not I say champion, I said not champion who lives locally. There's a pretty strong start. But elsewhere, Manders and Anita Vaughan. Vaughan just completely blew me away again. A lot of matches under 10 minutes of it, under around 10 minutes here. Don't need to be
It
here
was a
for a long
very
time,
quick show.
be here for a good time. I think some VOD is like 1 hour 50 as well, which, if you can pack in an 8-match card in under 2 hours on, edited down, you're on to a winner there, folks.
Yeah, it was a very sort of quick and compact show. I think the highlights for me were obviously the main event, which was Arbe and Tim. Obviously, that was very good, as you would probably expect. The other one I thought was very good was Mad Dog Connolly versus Aaron.
Yes. Aaron's getting very good at squashes, but for maybe the wrong reason.
Aaron, who's completely used nowhere else apart from occasionally being squashed on Inner Circle. But that's fine if that's his place, then whatever. Because he was also used. No, he wasn't used at Inner Circle, but he was used at something at Carrot, wasn't he?
Let me have a look while I clack along. But yeah,
but yeah, he was used at something. It doesn't.
I know they have used him in some form before. I don't know whether it's like in an act. No, because the match with Tricycle Night Fever was his main roster debut. They termed it. So he did in a circle who squashed a Patrick Bork back a year ago. In fact, I think that was his debut there. And we also did another squash when CZW was in town. The Fight Forever stuff. Against Aaron Ash, but that was another sub 5 minute squash. So he's not on every show, but when he's on, he's got a role, and by God, he's playing it pretty damn well. Now, I will say this first time I've seen much of Mad Dog Connolly. That chain scares the living daylight out of everyone standing by ringside.
I think he reined it in a little bit in the second after the first night, because he nearly. Poor old Lawson nearly got whacked by the chain.
God!
Avoiding Ilya Bloom punching him this time, he just nearly got hit by chains.
No, Lawson just got preview what Lee is turning into, let's be fair. But we can get on to that. Bear in a Circle, really solid show. This one's wXw Now exclusive, so if you want to see Team Will's return, at wxwnow.de. Moving on to night one, all these return being how onwards. So this was pretty much 6 Tag Festival matches, your pre-show and the shotgun title main event. Get the main event out of the way. Back in the day, I liked Zack Ryder when he was doing the whole, was with Z True Long Island story. Like the couch and all that. 2024 doesn't align with my sensibilities as a fan. And I don't know what it is, but when you're in the main event of one of the big shows of the year, your mic work is one step away from your sports team sucks. It's like, really? Is this what you've been paid to do? Like, I get, and I'll put in review, like, I guess, you probably can't do your local sports team sucks because, it's Oberhausen. I don't know how they're doing these days, but chances are a lot of people there aren't Oberhausen fans. And Schalke's too easy a target. But, when you're getting that as the, your sports team sucks, your food sucks, it's like, great. You do realise that you just get paid to do this internationally. And this is what you're coming up with.
The thing which does sort of... This kind of felt like a completely non-canon sort of main event. I don't know if you're aware, the reason of this match is that a fan paid for this booking. You aware?
I had heard that, yeah.
Yeah, so effectively, a fan paid for this booking, so that's why the match happened. So yeah, it's a bit of a non-canon thing. It is what it is. It wasn't very good, but I don't think anybody had any illusions it was going to be.
I mean, what I would say is, if you want to keep it in canon, the fact they got Levaniel beating Cardona, that's
beating clean.
What I would say, the match that's 13 minutes I'm never going to get back in my life, and 2 nights later the whole thing kind of got upended, by something we'll talk about in night 3. But yeah, away from that, on the Tag Festival portion, Manderson Shire against Thatcher and Arbe is bloody good, even if a bit alongside.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, no, that was excellent. It was one of the best matches of the weekend, for sure.
And I will say this because I'm harsh, but I will eat crow when the time comes. As much as I wasn't looking forward to them on this weekend, Lycos Jim more than held their own on this. Like the semi-main with Los Desperados, more than worth their booking here. And things for pre-show for big bucks, albeit in defeat. It wasn't just the few fans who travel and follow the Lykai around. They more than held their own. And if the wXw had more tag teams or more of a tag team scene, I could see them being used somewhat semi-regularly on whether it's like the Hamburg shows and stuff like that.
I disagree with you there. I didn't think they were very good at all, especially in that semi. That was actually one of my probably my worst, one of the worst matches of the evening for me personally. So I'm surprised about that, but fair enough. I suppose it's different
I think
tastes.
maybe I mean the styles. Well, I mean, I think for me, for some very short, very low rate matches I had, there were no long, very shorter ones. I think like the Y2 Cutes one for me is like I think that's the one I'd pinned as the worst tag festival match of the night. But again, just because it was way too short. It felt like with Y2 Cutes they found the act last year. A pairing that worked. They brought it back, but they also didn't do that much with it, at least in terms of canon stuff. We did a match. We did the conga line, and we did stuff over Femme Fatale, but it felt like it was a lot of individual bits, but nothing really could string together that really could build off of when Jacob Crane comes back from Japan again.
Yeah, I can understand that as well. Um, Obviously, Jacob Crane is away until at least April, so yeah, there's not going to be anything for him for a long, long time.
And Ava Everett back in the States.
Yeah,
So yeah, we got the stuff in, but it wasn't like last year where it was a smash hit. Maybe it's a recurring thing. I mean, it's got more legs than Body Slam because it can only take those so many times before it gets a bit run of the mill. But yeah, I guess the other big thing from night one, KXS beating Cash and Hector to win the tag titles. Short but surprising opener. Because of course KXS lost in was it Hamburg a couple of months ago, so they
yeah.
got the big win. They start the weekend of a title change, and yeah, and I guess if you weren't aware, titles on the line throughout the whole tournament. So yeah, that actually would be an interesting one if they did this next year. What if the champions go out on night one on DQ, but the titles obviously don't change? Again, that's probably setting up future stuff down the
Uh,
line, but
um, yeah, technically that's possible, isn't it? I don't know. But then surely, because I think you'd have to ask Felix that.
yeah, or whoever's got the pen these days. But
Who's
moving
who's
on,
the uh, who's the sporting director nowadays?
yeah, so the matchmaker, I think these days, it's they don't put a name to it. It's the championship committee and the
Yeah,
anonymous general man. Sorry, the anonymous matchmaker. So yeah, but spoiler it is Felix on the balcony giving the thumbs up. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe that's
it's a
the direction
question
for
worth
next year.
asking.
Oh, especially
maybe
this
maybe
weekend.
they've not even realised it, and they're like, oh, hang about, there's a finish next year.
Well, if we see that next year, we take him credit.
Then the finish for tag, but the final of the tournament is always about the tag titles. So
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm
they
very
have
interested in
done
that.
in the old format when it was the the blocks. They have had was it one year where the young lions didn't make it for finals, so it was
And they
basically
just
you don't make it for finals, well you're stripped.
yeah. Well, that was always the thing. It was if you didn't win your group, you wasn't in the final.
So yeah, I mean, so if we see a DQ finish on night two for vacant titles on night three, we'll just take the credit and the paycheck, lads. Moving on, the Extreme Wrestling Party. So this one, I'll hold my hands, but I just went back to the hotel after this because I I don't know if this was the early starts of what we've come down with, but after the show I just felt like so tired. It's like, yeah, this is going to be done like 2:30 in the morning. I know obviously that time of night the transport's not going to be great. That means I'll be back in the hotel maybe 3, half 3. Yeah, I'm passing. So I end up watching this in my hotel room, and fight took a bit of time to get going. And then finally gets on, and it's the old the old ECW intro. And then enter Sandman. I'm thinking, that's not production music. Where's this
Yeah,
budget come from?
they've kept it in the VAD as well.
So yeah, so I mean, if you want to be snarky, if we can use quote proper music here, then okay, has something changed? But and this was the homage to ECW of WXW's early days without the death matches. Opener Robert Dreisker beating Nick Shrives for Hardcore Invitational, sponsored by Balcarve Brew. Had Nick Shrive getting waterboarded by said beer. Were they giving out samples of their live, by the way, or was that something they just kept on
Yes,
stage?
yes, they were. I did, as you can see on my Untapped. Yes, I did check in back Alf Brew. They
Any
were
good?
given. It was alright. It's IPA, and I don't really like
Ah,
IPA. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's perfectly decent. It weren't too bad.
match pretty much the same. Although we'll say Nick Schreier doing the whole hardcore thing and then getting squashed by Robert Dreisker was maybe which way you're going here, lads, because if he's losing hardcore matches, he can't really live off the Massage Tanaka stuff that much longer without it being an ironic thing. But I guess that spins into stuff later in the weekend. And we also had the return of Sasa Keel. Sorry, Deguta Keel, they build him as here. I think he retired during the pandemic, and I don't think this is a farewell, because they brought back Julian Nero for Shortcut last year, and that was it. I don't think this is farewell, because I noticed on Cage Match this afternoon he worked for the German wrestling promotion this past weekend. So I don't know if this was the start of one last run, because again it was with Aaron Insane, the old Kale Holdings group. But when I saw him come out, I was like, oh, for God's sake, because the 2015 watch back I've been doing. Like, he's the one guy I really wanted to see live. So, hey, Sasa, no, don't retire again before next year's Carrot, please. We get
Sasha Kill does always make me laugh, because obviously when I first started watching wXw, I remember watching a match between Sasha Kill and Ilya Dragunov for the Shotgun title, and I was like, oh man, these two lads are great. And I tell you what, one of these people is going to be a real, I think they've got a real good opportunity to be a brilliant, massive star. Always picking the winner. I obviously thought that was Sasha Kill, but yeah,
well,
that's where the sliding doors. I picked Sasha Kill. He was one of my first favourite wrestlers in WXW, so it was really good to see him.
at least Elite didn't bomb out, so you're half right. Then we had a tribute to New Jack. It was a match Von Vertigo and Axel Fox went to no contest because Paolo Van Niemann, Danny Frey, Kelsey Reagan, who I swear first commentary didn't acknowledge but apparently did, ran in. That then turned into Y2 Cuties coming out for a brief match with their music playing throughout the whole thing. It was fine for what it was, but I get the feeling that Danny Frey may have been a sub here because MBM of Rivality was announced for this show, not on the lineup.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He was one of the ones on Show Week. They did the graphic of him. So they had obviously on Vertigo. He was announced. MBM got a similar announcement graphic, but no match. And I thought, that's weird. Maybe it's meant being Vaughn and MBM, but anyway, Y2Q serves Ava Everett, Jacob Crane, and M4 most muscular Mark Metzner. M4 got the win, choke slamming Nemeth for the pin, 3 minutes. Then you had the Drunken Ambition match, and I have no freaking clue how to even cover this. So it's basic Ambition rules, but with the rope break stuff. So both guys burned the rope breaks early on, so we could get pissed. I had Rhino Ringer, handing out shots like the water, and even a photo of Walter, just for those who got confused. This one would have been right to him in something like DDT. I enjoyed it, but this is absolutely a match you can't, you've got to wait at least 5 years before you run out again.
Yeah. You can't do this every every year. But then I don't think they'll do Extreme Wrestling Party every year.
No,
it felt very much like this was the placeholder for GCW.
Yes,
and it wouldn't surprise me if GCW was back next year.
So no, in the we spoke the Kale Holding stuff. Norman Harris had a promo talking about these 18 plus shows sucked very late for. Not a big fan because obviously he did the GCW shows last year and was it Manders who whipped him to death or led to something like that?
No, it was Nick Gage.
Oh yeah. Of course, I wasn't up that one. It was Nick Gage. He only did the GCW stuff. Manders was the Night 3 match. That's what I'm getting mixed up with.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the placeholder. We'll touch on it later. Carrot doesn't have this late night thing, so maybe that's the new tradition is late Friday night. Obviously, we'll see. We'll touch on that later on. Dog collar match. Manders over Mad Dog Connolly. I thought it was a bit of a disappointment given the hype between these two. Watching live, it felt like the truncating. I thought, maybe we've got to be out by like 2:15. But yeah, I thought there was a lot left in the tank between these two. I know they're doing another match. We've done matches in the past, would like to do more again. This felt, or at least on a rewatch, like
it's a touring match now. It's a touring match now, isn't it? Because they'd done it in I believe St. Louis Anarchy quite recently as well. So, or they'd done it was a Texas bull rape they did which is effectively the
A
same.
similar stipulation, yeah.
It's the same match. So yeah, they did do that a few months ago. So yeah, I wonder whether it's just a touring match at this point, isn't it? The one in St. Louis Anarchy was much better. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at Bull Rope at Circus Maximus 8-9 back in
Yeah, that's the
July.
one.
They had a dog collar match at also St. Louis Gateway to Anarchy back in January. So they've done a fair few.
They're touring it, so
Then we had so here's me thinking, we've done that match in like 8 minutes. Main event will be nice and brisk. Half an hour later, after Mike DeVecchio beat Gringo Loco in a TLC match, I'm wondering what the hell. So I guess the TLC matchups was nothing to go for. So it was literally just a plunder match with tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my! This could have done for a good 15 minutes shaved off. When you're still going 2 in the morning and you're going to the merch stand for a table because you've run out of them, and of course those tables are reinforced, at least they didn't do the progress thing of table didn't break, I got to do it again, but this to me just wasn't it at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I was obviously at this show, and I got about 2-3 minutes into this match, and I'm like, I'm gonna go stand by the door because I just want to go home and I want to go to bed. So I ended up. I basically, as soon as that bell went, I was like, right, see it. Ducked straight out of there because I was done with it. But yeah, even then, I was sort of standing there for about 10-15 minutes, thinking I could be in bed by now.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't like them. Not to say I don't like them late night shows. I do like them. I liked the GCW ones last year. I just think that you need to have something very engaging on at that time. But the problem is, I think the wrestlers are tired.
Yeah. Because some of these, just looking at the lineup, actually, don't forget, apart from Manders and Connolly, you didn't have. Manders had already done Inner Circle and Night 1 of Tagfest. So there's 3 matches in, 30 hours pushing that at that point?
Yeah.
I think it's the kind of thing, if you're doing a match, you need to have a very engrossing match. And you look at everything else into the card. 8 minutes, Aigle Blanc Latique, I was quaffing out, and I thought that was starting to peach out a bit. Drunken Ambition was 11 minutes, but that had shtick throughout. Nothing really touching 10 minutes, and then this going north of half an hour. It's that I don't know if it's a case of it needs to be long because the card would have fell short. It was a bit of a misfire. The match out was fine. It's just you could tell throughout people just getting everyone's getting less and less reaction. People you could tell were just dreaming of their duvets and what have you. But yeah, maybe something to learn if they do whatever we're going to do in a midnight spot next year.
Yeah, I'd like them to keep it because I have to admit, I do find that I tell you what, I could do a show at midnight if it was an hour and a half. If it was an hour and a half, then
Give
I'd
me
be
a
like,
circle of that time slot, and we're not complaining.
I'd be like, bring it on, love it, give us something good. But it's when it starts going into long-winded, it's just like, no, man, not dealing with that.
Well, I would say, only 8 fewer people doing this show than Night 1 of Tag Festival. So, if you're expecting a massive drop off, it did materialise.
8 people less.
441 at Night 1, 433 night at
I suppose that's sold tickets, though, isn't it? So yeah, there probably was a lot less, though.
Yeah, potentially.
Because they won't count that you've not gone in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we wouldn't have come that. So yeah, I did see a few more empty seats, but we're also not counting for how many people did Matt Cardone main event chase away.
I sat for this show because you can sit. So yeah, there was seats available. So yeah, I think I would probably say there was a good number less at that show.
Moving on to night 2. So this was the 3 Tag Festival semi-finals. The match we talked about with Forwerk and Maggot, and a few surprises. So I guess the main one talk would come out with Paige Tahani beating Robert Dreisker and Lawrence Roman, the new Unified World Wrestling Champion. I thought again decent match, but the finish completely came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Running knee, I guess if they're not calling for Tahani, then someone's getting yelled at for not marketing. But yeah, this felt like a match where they maybe went home a bit early, or to me it felt like there's a lot more juice left in the tank. Like the finish came out knowing maybe that's it. No, Tahani's been doing the whole flash win thing, but in the match it just didn't even feel like the building up to a kind of thing. Or was it caught everyone by surprise, which we've said in the past is good. But when it's the main event of a big title match, when you see tentpole title matches, it's like, that it?
Yeah, I think apart from the finish, which is, ironically is probably the most it is the most important bit in many ways. But apart from the finish, I actually thought it was a very well sort of structured match. I kind of enjoyed that. There was kind of no overwhelming favourite in the match. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of it was almost three heels in the match, wasn't it? And then organically, I felt that Dreisker ended up getting probably the best reactions simply because he wasn't
Your
Laurie.
lot.
He was not just from me, but like Tahani's obviously turned his back on the because of he's joined High Performer Limited. Roman is not particularly popular because of who he is, really. There's no fire in Roman really at the moment, is there?
It's always felt like a lame duck reign, for being honest, like since Drive of Champions, because it went from winning that into summer break because of the Euros. Then first defense, first
and then
match
just
back.
meaningless defenses against people
Not even
who
that, like
have no business. This is his first proper title defense,
yeah,
really.
like
If you think about it.
first match back was that 6-man tag where he was very much a secondary character to the High Performer Limited stuff.
Yeah.
Like, first show back since winning the belt, and you're not even the main guy in your match. Like, that felt a bit like, I don't say malpractice is maybe a bit strong, but just felt a bit odd. And then obviously, Trevor Lee's shortcut to the top was a bit of a, okay, decent match, but again, Trevor Lee, if you see him at Carrot, that'll be the next time you see him. And then obviously this, so it did feel very much like, I don't want to say transition, but very much a bridge from Dreisker to Tahani, which it worked, but yeah, it did do Roman a bit dirty.
Dreisker got the new gimmick bounce, and like he's changed his gimmick again, and now it was like it's everything's right as rain with him. Not that there was anything wrong before, but do you know what I mean? It's like I think if he was playing TEW, they would be saying, "Oh, Dreisker changed his gimmick to this, and it was a great success." Everyone would just be like, oh, "Okay, yeah, it's fine, it's worked."
Are you sure you want to book Robin Christopher for work again? The fans has been too much of him.
You're using Robin Christopher Bullock too much on this show, yeah. Yeah, so that sort of thing. I thought it was. I did enjoy the end. The finish was very sort of like, oh, okay, that was that, and then you're like, okay, then you go disappear off into the night after that.
Yeah,
It's just like we say, the first two nights sort of ending on a bit of a okay, but then it does get better. I will shout out on this match on this show though. Obviously, Arbe and Irie versus Shire and Manders I thought was excellent.
yes.
And obviously Mike D and Igla Blanc. Igla Blanc's not somebody I particularly have a lot of time for, but I thought this was very good. This one, I think this is one of probably his best match he's had in a long time.
Yeah, and I've just realised I've completely cocked up one of the reviews because I've copied and pasted that Mike DeVecchio pinned a Hura to win the European title, but of course not for finish.
There we go. Something for you to fix later.
Yeah, and I guess one other thing from night two. So we had obviously Youngblood in the main show opener, because of them winning. All the focus going on Oscar. I think was it the ramp he was superplexed onto.
Yes.
So he suplexed onto the ramp from the off. So it was all usual. Well, kind of been the thing the whole weekend, really. It was all, Oscar's, pretty much, down and beaten pretty much the whole weekend. But yeah, and I guess if we want to pick one of the bit, the We're still doing Cash and Hector as a team despite losing the belts, but Dennis very much of a naughty step this weekend.
Yeah, Dennis he's kind of sort of been left to be the well. It was almost like Hector's kind of like, okay, right, well, let me show you what's the what the how we do it almost. I think the problem is that Hector and Dennis is exactly the same sort of dynamic as Mike D and Nick, isn't it?
Yes, and that's going to
Is
be a
very
problem.
similar, which is I don't necessarily think it's a problem because they're both very engaging and entertaining pairs, and I don't mind that it's something that works for them both, so I don't mind them. But eventually they're going to have to get to a point where they're going to be like they're going to have to.
You both come to the same party with the same outfit, or
Yeah,
one of you's going to have to
exactly,
change, that kind of thing, yeah.
exactly. So
It's something worth calling out at Who and Timothy Thatcher is a bit of a pleasant surprise, even if the result was very surprising. But yeah, for pretty solid show. Main event aside, I'd say really strong, but again, your miles will vary. Day three opened with Femme Fatales, and I guess for me, maybe one of the matches for the weekend. Don't know what your take is on this. Stephanie May's Jessie J, and yeah, they had the plunder, they had the blood. Eventually, they had all the gimmicks, but for 10 minutes, that completely blew me out of the water.
yeah, it was a bit of a bizarre, sort of a surprising no disqualification match. It was a bit. I was like, this is a bit heavy for breakfast. But yeah, that was good fun. The match I was quite pleasantly surprised was Diana Strong, Raker, Madison Marley, and Eva Kolaski. I thought that was actually surprising. It was a lot better than it had any right to be.
For four, I know if you go by the star ratings, I've gone relatively low, but for what 6 minutes. And I think I put in the review of Femmetol in general. This is the kind of show that makes you realise they're willfully missing out on a lot by getting rid of a defined women's division. Yeah, you can go, oh well, we can still book them. Well, book them.
Yeah, it's it. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I get the whole like there's not enough good people in Europe, but you have.
You had 18 on here, and granted, gone through, got Devlin, Kelsey Reagan, Ava Everett. So there's, and I may ask, there's four who are outside of Europe.
But with respect, and I confirmed this the other night because we was talking about it, unrelated. For Carrot, it is currently 70 euro for a return flight from Dublin to Dusseldorf in March, and it's like, with respect, like Debbie's good enough. You can fly her in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. The excuses don't really hold up much weight for me.
You take the Alan Cheap Shot thing here.
Yeah, for me, and I think there's also, I generally think there's a legitimate storyline you can play here where you have the title bought by High Performer Limited, don't you? And Allison, and then you can have Allison and new champion, which we'll speak about very shortly, having a bit of a power struggle over being champions. I don't know. For me, it doesn't really wash for me. I sort of understand where they're coming from, but I also don't understand it. Likewise, with British companies not booking European people, European women as well, it doesn't really wash with me either. So, Eva Kolaski not being an Eve or Rev Pro or Progress or OTT doesn't really make sense to me, to be honest.
I guess we've won Baby Allison, Ayame Sasamu, pretty decent. I would dare say the majority of the crowd maybe hadn't have heard of or even seen Sasamu beforehand. And again, for 10 minutes, more than worth of value there. Well, a bit odd, again, not to pocket watch or anything. The fact that she was in and only for the Femme Fatale show, that was a heck of an expensive 10 minutes, you'd have to say. When it counting flights and all that, assuming it wasn't a pay themselves in kind of thing.
Yeah, don't know what the story is with that. Unless she was working elsewhere or she was tutoring or whatever, or just training.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to night three. So like us is going down the pre-show. Then we opened with Mike D beating Nick Fry, so they set this up on the ironic Femme Fatale show. Mike D being very much annoyed at Nick for just taking it easy on the Saturday night. Come showtime, this is I'm lighting a fire under your ass kind of thing. Major European title match, and Nick, got pretty close, but end of it all, Mike D was always going to win, and I believe this is only the second one in wXw where the challenger wasn't for Brit. So finally, we find out there's more countries in Europe than Britain, which is ironic in some people's eyes. Then we had Hector over Igel Blanc, and dun, 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 dun. High Perform Limited again. Pretty breezy trios match, which then went to I guess the unveiling of Peach Tahani as champion.
Yeah.
Now, where I said the Baby Allison stuff was very WWE-like, this also sounds WWE-like, but on a not pejorative way. So we did the whole thing of, I'm a honourable man with father. Peach Tahani's going to be a fighting champion, and he's going to have his first defence here now against Aaliyah Bloom. And Mike, just being honest here, how long did it take you to realise that wasn't Aaliyah Bloom?
Yeah, you could tell quite quickly because of his height, and also the fact that I saw earlier get turned away. I can confirm that wrestler was I can't remember the name, but he's from Body Slam. He's a Danish wrestler.
Oh,
it's
the
not
tattoos real?
No, they were. I believe they were sort of bubblegum tattoos. I will.
The time they spend doing those temporary tattoos.
Yeah. It's a wrestler from Body Slam. And I feel awful that I did actually know the name. I recognise the name, and it's not on Cage Match, but I need to. Yeah, I will find that out, and I will let you know later. But yes, it was one of the guys from Body Slam. So yeah, it was a proper wrestler. It wasn't even like a WXW trainee. It was another one.
So we had that, and of course, real Aaliyah Bloom came. So afterwards, Peach Tahani beat quote Aaliyah Bloom. Kept beating afterwards. Lawrence Roman came out. He was attacked. Then the real Aaliyah Bloom with a pipe came out, chased everyone away. Bit for knees then, I guess, for obviously the main. Now, am I off base for thinking Carrot main event's going to be Tahani Aaliyah? Or is that maybe a bit too soon, or maybe too big of a show?
It's too soon to be guessing Carrot main events. I think we've all been wrong with what we think a Carrot main event is.
But definitely it's the direction they're obviously going in. Like, because of Bloom, his whole thing's been High Perform Limited's taken away everyone I've ever trusted. Now he's the loose cannon. I mean, Christ was nearly, he's virtually Brian Pillman Senior this past weekend with some of his attires.
We've got. I don't suspect it'll be on Fan, but you've also got Anniversary. And there's a We Love Wrestling show in between there as well, isn't there? So there's still plenty of opportunities, and even then you go into January with things like K-Fix Schlacht and all that sort of thing. So yeah, there's plenty of space for that to go.
So from one trios match we go to another one, which I don't think I had my bingo card this weekend. Timothy Thatcher doing a comedy trios match, which 20 minutes near enough, and this didn't feel it. But this had pretty much all of the comedy stuff you never expected Timo doing. It was the Michinoku Pro prancing, I guess you want to call it that. All the hip tosses, Irie being marched into a ring post. This was surreal, is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good. It kind of shows the what do you call it? Range of a wrestler like Tim. I think Irie would have been an absolute hoot in the spot instead of Suzuki. But I think this was just the absolute blast from start to finish. I think apart from Arbe's match, sorry, I meant to say Arbe instead of Irie. Apart from Arbe's match, I think this was just absolute. It's an absolute hoot. Loved this one.
And also mentioned Suzuki. We've got to mention night 2 Suzuki over Bobby Guns. Another one of the Bobby's, I guess, bucket list matches. He seems to be getting on these weekends when they have Japanese importing, which
it's always like Bobby says, "Listen, I'll work as long as I get to work the Japanese guys."
Hey, I've heard of worse bargaining chips.
Yeah, it's fine.
So after the Timo comedy hour, Robert Dreisker over Aaron. Again, another squash, short and sweet, more than it needs to be. Abe beating Mad Dog Connolly. This one was okay, but it felt a bit weird at points, I guess you could say. Things the flash pin, which again, good, but again, Mad Dog Connolly just feels like he brought him in for a squash, a dog collar match loss and miss. It's so okay, decentish weekend, but nothing really leaps out. Which haven't heard all the hype. This maybe isn't weekend to hold up as a he's a CV of stuff to go back to. But who knows? Maybe he's going to come back and be more will come out of this.
I get the impression that Mad Dog has booked his ticket for Carrot. The impression, the vibe that I just got from him over the weekend is he's in the same cut of cloth as Manders and Tom Shire. Not necessarily the most fashionable wrestlers in the world, but they get wXw, and Mad Dog is definitely in that same conversation. I think for the same reason.
I don't like writing people off, but if he's back for Carrot, great, because I felt like I didn't see enough of him to make a proper judgment, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he was a bit of a sideshow. Let's face it.
Yeah.
He was a bit of a sideshow this weekend. But yeah, this is. I just by the way he's been, definitely. I mean, I'd get Mad Dog in for bloody Broken Rules or the Kayfish Slacker or something. Get him in for one. Get him in the cage or something like that. That'd be class. You know that. And I think he would justify it. So yeah, for me, yeah, I think he's booked himself, a return trip for sure. There's no question about that at all.
And then top two matches, Nita Vaughn, of course, she won Femme Fatale, which you completely blitzed through on the Femme Fatale show, but she beat Rio in the semi-final, then her trainer Debbie Keitel in the final.
Really good final, actually.
Yeah. I say this weekend, obvious headline side, Nita Vaughn will probably start the weekend or one of, just for the endless chanting for it in a circle, then obviously the Femme Fatale showing. Beating Lavaniel Heat, win shotgun belt, and a match which not a good weekend for Lavaniel. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know if you want to blame the Cardinal stuff on him, but
isn't it the point with Lavaniel though? Isn't the point that he's not very good?
I mean, if I was hit with a story of his heavyweight title run, and that became the impetus to be the Sigma and blame podcasters for dogging him the whole time, then maybe. But this wasn't it. Like I got where we were going with the match. I got the whole thing of, he's constantly beating her down. He's beating her down. He's beating her down. But you're meant to be getting reactions, and it felt like for a lot of the time the crowd weren't until the final stretch. But Anita Vaughn is the first woman to be Shotgun champion. This is what they were teasing on Shotgun 2020. When they first did intergender in wXw. So we'll see where that goes. I know the first match has got still bad sacking him this weekend is against Debbie Keitel. Okay. So let's see if Shotgun title's going to be like a de facto women's division again, or we'll see where that goes. But new face, and honestly, welcome award given how popular Anita has been. It's not just been a one festival, one weekend thing either.
Yeah, again, like with what I said with Mad Dog, Anita's just someone who she just gets wXw. I think there's I don't know I don't know if there's a bit of black magic about how sort of you do get that, but for me it was just like I think from the minute she was first in wXw, it's just like it just made sense. It was we got it straight away, and that's a big. And there's been much bigger wrestlers who've come and gone in wXw, and they've not got a fraction of what Vaughn got this weekend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Booking some of it's not Saint Nia, it's Andy for crying out loud. And then main event, of course, World Tag Team Festival final. Youngblood beating KXS and Manders and Shire, elimination rules freeway. So Youngblood leave Oberhausen as your new wXw World Tag Team champions. Guess kind of makes it for Hamburg, but not really. But I guess this was the end of the crowning bit of the next generation bit. So you've got Youngblood, Tihani, Vaughn, new champions all around. Obviously Mike D as well, and wXw made a point all under 30 as well. So May not be the golden generation, but they're blatantly planning for the future. And I think, as a weekend, and after night one, I'm very much influenced by main events. I was really down on things. Night two, not so much. Night three, yeah, you can see where we're going. Only concern I do have, and we did kind of touch on this in the last podcast,
Yeah.
is still the undercards. There's a bit more fleshed out there, but there's still a fair amount where you're thinking there's a lot of names we've got who you can see in danger of not being used frequently. And if they are brought back, it's going to be a make the numbers up kind of thing, like so there's a rotten flot in Bielefeld.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one reason where they're still doing roughly one show a month. We'll touch on the upcoming schedule in a minute. But in terms of characters, I think hitting the new year, it is something they definitely need to start making more of a concerted, not never but just actually delivering on, not just the top half of the card, actually having stuff to do.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I think, like we say, that there is more of a. Obviously, I think you can almost entirely blame it on the fact that there's just not been enough shows this summer. Or this summer sort of since Carrot, and it's just kind of been in a bit of a holding pattern. We've got at least 4. Well, we've got 4 shows before the end of the year, which is say 2 a month, which is pretty good. It's more than it has been this summer, which was when it dropped down to 1 a month. So that's not too bad. And then obviously going into the new year, there's a big bumper schedule back more like what we used to with wXw, and that's really good. When we used to have like last year when we was just saying we're not really going to talk about this show because we had this show to talk about.
A lot more wrestling to happen before we get there.
Yeah,
now
exactly. We're back to that, which is brilliant. It's what we want. It's what we love, and hopefully it's going to give them a chance to stretch their legs out a little bit more rather than sort of jump in between each thing. Because, as I said, they finished Carrot, and they already basically they finished Shortcut, and they had to jump straight into Tagfest. So it was maybe not entirely their fault, but at the same time, it just didn't help them at all.
So a couple of tidbits before we wrap up, and I may as well go into this. So wXw's weekly news blast this past week had a bit of a tidbit in there. So they're now going to be taping selected matches from those town shows, so vis-a-vis Wheel of Wrestling Live house shows. They haven't said what we're going to do with them, but if you tape them, I suspect they're going to be broadcast somewhere. And I think in the background I can hear someone taking a swing at the world, maybe, but we'll see. Speaking of Carrot next year, we of course got the announcement week of Tag Festival that Dragon Kid has been announced for Tag Festival. So he's the first one. We also got the schedule for Tag Festival.
For Carrot.
Sorry, for Carrot, sorry. Got Tag Festival in mind here. So Inner Circle, that's on Thursday the 6th of March. And if you're listening to this, I would and you're planning on going to Carrot next year, and you haven't got your Inner Circle tickets, move quick because there's literally 4 left. I know they had a really strong start when it was after Carrot last year. They started shifting pretty quick. We're down to 4 now, and before Tagfest was like more than 10, so it's been a pretty big surge in ticket sales since then. Then the Carrot schedule, we've got Friday night, of course, night 1. Saturday, you've got 3 shows in one day. We've got Shotgun Bonanza, whatever that's going to be, at noon. Ambition at 3 and night 2 at 7:30. Then Sunday, you've got Wheel of Wrestling at noon and night 3 at 5:30. So, yeah, packed schedule, your usual layout, no late night shows. Of course, I'd expect that Wrestling Cult will be there on the Saturday morning for the perverts who want to do 4 shows in one day, Mike.
Yes, I love wrestling.
And
sorry that I love it more than you do.
Look, I'm an old man. I need sleep.
That being said, do you know what? You can't call me that when you went to that Progress show. I didn't.
Look, Luke Jakes and Tim Thatcher was a match I wanted to see. Okay, the rest I could have done without. But anyway, coming up this coming weekend, so October 19th, Wheel of Wrestling Live in the Huber Arena in Bad Säckingen. Actually, tomorrow as we tape, Wednesday. Heat in the wXw Academy, that's the trainee shows. Don't think there's much of anything announced there. Bad Säckingen on the 19th at the Huber Arena. We've got a full card. Mike D defending the European title against Igel Blanc. Anita Vaughan non-title against Debbie Keitel. Peach Tahani and Anil Mau against Leah Bloom and Lawrence Roman. Robert Dreisker Mark Empire. Fast Time Mood against Dennis Cash Dulnig. Bear in mind we're going to be taping maybe something from these, so in fact I suspect be at least one or two of those just for giving the graphics. November 9th for Batch Cup in Frankfurt Fan 2024. We announced early today Ahura against Igel Blanc. Then following weekend we've got 3 dates in Saxony. Wheel of Wrestling Live at the Factory in Magdeburg on November 15th. The Stadthalle in Limbach Oberfrohna November 16th. And the Hellraiser in Leipzig November 17th. Again, those won't be entire live shows. With probably bits taped here and there.
There's a bit of a weekender there, isn't
there? So last year, all 3 of those dates were live. Because I remember them being like a... I don't know if this was the trial, but they were definitely doing the 3 shows live, or 3 shows near live. I was like, oh, that's weird. All of these are numbered. And yeah, so I think that was the one where they did, and I'm going to scroll down quick. Was that the weekend where they did the Battle Without Honor?
Yes, that is that weekend. Yes, I'm pretty sure that was.
No, that was early this year. It was early this year. No, it was a year ago, so end of October, was 52, 53, 54 Wheel of Wrestling. Limbach had Amboss against Cash Hector and Maggot. Dresden had Magda and Axel Tischer.
Didn't they have Ava Everett versus
Zeritus?
Yeah.
Yep. That one was in... where was it? You know when you've got a whole page of cage match and you just can't... You've seen but you can't find it again.
Club from Hell in Erfurt, maybe?
Maybe.
Or the airport one? What's the airport one? Airport Festival.
Oh God, where's that?
I don't know. Vennehof? Is it Vennehof? Or?
Obertraubling was the event hall airport.
Yeah, that's Obertraubling.
So Zeritus, Baby Alice was in Bielefeld. Zeritus and Dieter Schwartz was Leipzig this time last year. Baby Allison and Ava Everett was Dresden 2 years ago. Good God, time flies. The Revenge Rumble in Dresden Kraftwerk.
Time is a myth because that was a match you thought happened last year. Happened this. A match I thought last year happened 2 years ago. So yes, time is a myth.
Yeah. So we've got those coming up. Cards TBA. And then, of course, Broken Rules for Marktal in Hamburg, November 23rd. Expect that to be live. Wheel of Wrestling 63 for Stadthalle Venhofen Borken, December 20th. That's going to be taped, and I believe, live on wXw now, not Triller. And then, of course, the 24th anniversary of Turbine Hall Oberhausen, December 21st. And then we'll be off for mince pies, mulled wine, and all that good stuff for Christmas. But, Mike...
And I'll be in Japan.
Yeah, so...
I'll be in Japan watching Jake and Crane.
Yeah, probably see more of him in Japan than we would in wXw if he'd been here, to be frank. But actually, how is he doing? Because I know he was actually in action this past weekend. Like, it's not, I'm relocating and I'll be... No, was it the first time around? It was a bit of a gap between him being there and actually doing something.
Well, he was eating steak in Sapporo today.
I saw that. So he wrestled this past weekend in Hokkaido. I'm not even going to try and butcher that name. Teamed with Kazumasa Yoshida to lose to the Astronauts, which, hell of a welcome back match against the Astronauts. Maybe it's on the same flight as RB.
Yeah.
Who knows? But anyway, best of luck, Jacob, if you're listening. I know he's been following some of his stuff on the website, so yeah, we'll have to do a better job keeping up from this time in Japan if he's there a bit longer time. But Mike, that was, of course, World Tag Team Festival 2024. Where can we find you on the socials?
You can find me by typing in Mike Kilby on any search engine, and you might find me on there.
Backbodydrop.com for the website. Backbodydrop Instagram. Post a whole load of photos from Tagfest weekend. Big Backbodydrop, if you're still using Twitter, you can find me at Ian Wrestling on pretty much anything. And yeah, if this is the first time you're listening to us, thanks so much. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave a review. Maybe not so bad one, eh? But yeah, we'll be back probably about a month's time, see if we do some kind of filler since there's a fair amount of time to go. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks with absolute latest with stuff from fan. Thanks for listening, everyone, and cheers.
Yes.